Hi guys, welcome back to Geeks Wargaming and another Clash of Arms video. This is now part 5 and this is actually going to be the penultimate video because we are very close to the event now. That is not to say that I'm going to finish sort of building my iron hands. I've still got loads and loads of stuff sort of unpainted and bits and bobs and stuff like that, but I've just got the army to a point now where I'm happy with it to take to the event. So the last video will actually be a full army showcase, so if you really want to see that, make sure that you're subscribed and you've got your notifications turned on so you don't miss that. But anyway, on to this episode. So in the last episode I kind of hinted towards that, you know, I was doing a slightly larger unit, and yeah, here it is basically. You know, I love my Dreadnoughts, being an Iron Hands player, and they are very, very good in this edition of the game. A little bit too good. So I have sort of changed my mind about how I was going to run the force, but I still wanted to have a few Dreadnoughts in the force. So the original idea was to go with the March of the Ancients, or whatever that Rite of War's called, where you have basically all the Dreadnoughts. But I just think it's a bit obnoxious for a sort of a narrative event. So I thought, well, I'll just take sort of a few Dreadnoughts. So it's kind of fluffy, it's how I like to play, but it's not just too obnoxious. I've got loads of troops and other bits and bobs in the force that you'll see next week. So, moving on to these Dreadnoughts, these were actually all built from the new plastic kit, but as you can see I have modified all of them with extra sort of pipes and little bits of trim and things like that. So let me bring some of the first one up to you so you can see. So I've tried to go with quite sort of dynamic poses for all three of these. The arms are all magnetised. Games Workshop have done a really good job on these kits to make them easy to swap out your weapon. So they sort of magnetise just at the elbow. You just literally put your magnet just in that hole there if it'd focus, and then on each side of the actual fist itself, and then they just slot on and give you a nice little bit of posability. So, you know, I can run these with, I've basically got all the weapon variants. I haven't painted all the weapon variants up yet because of obviously time constraints. The only thing that you can't really magnetise is the fist weapon. So being Iron Hands, obviously I had to go with the Grav. I think it is a really good weapon, particularly on Dreadnoughts, because it's a heavy and obviously they don't take the penalty, but you can really sort of mess up your opponent's sort of movement and also make their melee slightly weaker if they're hit by Grav, and obviously sort of fail a morale check. So I think this is quite a good combination. I was originally going to go for a different sort of weapon on here. I was thinking about sort of plasma to give me some more elite killing ability, but looking across my force, I did actually lack ranged anti-tank. So I thought it'd be better suited to go with the multi-melter. Plus, it's a really cheap option, and multi-melters in this edition I think are really good. So just to sort of explain all the different modifications and how I achieved those. So first of all, the emblem on his chest, the sarcophagus, I guess, that's actually a really old Forge World etched brass. So before they were doing all these Legion symbols in resin, they released a lot of brass. So yes, I am that old, and yes, I did pick up a lot of the brass things probably about 15 years ago. So yeah, I've got a few of these emblems still sort of kicking around, so I thought it fit quite nice on there. The brass itself was actually sort of quite stylized in terms of the actual frame of the brass. it was actually done in this sort of cog design all around the edge. So I've just literally cut the edge of the sprue, in effect, the brass sprue. I don't know if that's a thing, but it is now, and used it for these extra bits of decoration. So that's just a little bit of brass there, and you can see it on some of the other dreadnoughts. The pipe work was achieved with I think this one was a guitar string, and then the slightly chunkier ones were actually green stuff, and they were rolled using, I think it was a green stuff world sort of pipe and tentacle roller. It's a really good bit of kit. You basically get your green stuff and roll it out, and if it would focus on this, it's probably just going to focus on the Dreadnought, so hopefully you can see that there's some quite nice definition. So whenever I've got a little bit of spare green stuff, I just basically whack it in the roller and make some of these, and they always come in handy, because even after it's cured, they still remain pretty flexible, so you can do whatever you want with them. So that's them. So just added a few sort of cables, under the arm hanging around, looking like there's a little bit of extra power going into the sarcophagus and things like that, and just sort of continued some things around the back as well, just to look like extra power and stuff all over the place, really. So just to iron hands it up. The actual where they join, these are just like little bits of just like power cables that you get off Space Marine and AdMech units. I've just literally cut a little tiny piece of plastic there, and just got the nodule so you can just about sort of see that, and that was the same at the top. So it's not just a piece of wire going into plastic, you've got to get this sort of the trim, so to speak. So there's plenty of kits that you can sort of chop up for things like that if you wanted to replicate it. So this guy I wanted to sort of take as more of a sort of a braced position, so his legs are in sort of a position where he is sort of slightly more squatting down, like he's just basically finished running and bracing for impact, or just looking for a target, surveying the land. So really happy with how that pose came out. The next guy here, now I have put the what's it called? I think the bionic eye, whatever it is. There it is actually a specific piece of war gear. Now I'm not actually using it as that specific piece of war gear. I've just done it for rule of cool, because Iron Hands always have bionic eyes, don't they? So there you go. I've put it on all of them, and I've just coloured them differently across all three, just to make them look unique. Again, a couple of guitar strings here with some little plastic bits drilled in there. This is just trying to think where this is from. I had to sort of razor saw it off something. I can't remember for the life of me where I got that from, to be honest with you. Some kind of plasma weapon or something like that. So that is where that's from. And then again, all the extra leads, things like that. So that one is him. Actually, one thing I forgot to mention on this guy that I've done, in addition to all the power cables and everything, is these little studs on the knee. So this is just like a little bit of plastic rod that I've just cut into sort of 1 millimeter long, and then just sort of super glued them on there just to give that sort of studded look. So I've actually got the Iron Hand specific resin one, and it's got knee pads like this, so I just sort of copied that design. So there you go, that's him. And then, oh yeah, and the brass trim just on the shoulder there. Thought I'd put brass trim somewhere else on this one, but maybe not. Okay, and then the last one, I like this one the best. Really like his pose, just sort of standing, foot up on the rock. Managed to get the finger pointing, which I really like the look of there. The ferrous plate here is from it's again Forge World resin Iron Hands upgrade kit. So you basically get some obviously all the clan markings. You get this, and you get some sort of resin hand symbols, iron hand symbols, things like that. So that's quite a good kit as well. I think they still do that one, so you should be able to get hold of that. And that is him. So yeah, I think look really good as a unit. Looking forward to using them. I put a bit of extra detail on their bases. I think that's one of the areas where I kind of lack. I like putting effort into the miniatures, but the basing for me is it always feels like a little bit of a chore. So I just kind of do it as quickly as I can, but I kind of pre-plan these thinking, well, you know, I'm going to try and pose them slightly more dynamically, and I wanted it to look like they're actually, you know, striding through a battlefield or something. So this is just sort of some big chunky plastic rod, which I've cut down and then cut at an angle, so it'd lie sort of flush. And then just got some of these guitar wires and other sort of little metal wires that I've got, and popped them in there to make it look like some kind of exposed cabling. I've also, on the back there, that is one of the treads from a Baneblade. Not that I own a Baneblade, but I do own a Fellblade, and the Fellblade kit comes with basically a Baneblade kit in it as well. So you get the tracks, but you don't end up using them. And then these fences are, I think it was like a battlefield debris upgrade that you could get. It was all brass etched. So let me see, that's what it looks like when you first bought it. Don't think Games Workshop do it anymore, but yeah, just cut off a few bits like that. So that's them. You know, it's 3 Contemptor Dreadnoughts. It's pretty much all you can say about them. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and thanks for watching. And remember, keep an eye out for next week's video to see the whole army. And then after I've been to the Clash of Arms, I'm planning on doing a little bit of a review for you. So there'll probably be some sort of photos from the day, alongside my thoughts about my first Horus Heresy event in 2nd edition, and my first Horus Heresy event in probably about 10 years. So yeah, really excited for that one. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.